Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello students, I am Jitesh Gula and today we are going to do the discussion on question answers based on Unit 1 of Class 12 Sociology. So let's start with that. You can see here they have asked very short question answers. So these very short question answers must be one word or one liner. Okay, no detail is required until and unless it is asked. You have to give to the point answers. So that is one of the important to the point answer must be given for these. Clear? The first one we are taking what is meant by unity. So we need to define the meaning of the term unity given here. So we can say that the term unity means to bring different elements within a society. While we are talking about bringing the different elements within a society to form a single unit as a whole, while we are trying to create a single unit for that. So that is unity. The second one they have asked what is meant by diversity. Diversity, if we talk about, it means we can define the variety based on differences. Clear? So that is going to be your diversity. Another is fundamentalism. What is fundamentalism? If we talk about, we can define it is a religious movement characterized by a strict belief in literal interpretation of religious text. While you are having the feeling that only your particular religion is the one which exists or superior than any other religion. So that is fundamentalism. Next they have asked what is a tribal religion called. Tribal religion, one word answer, animism. You will mention the particular word you have to give for tribal religion. Then what is a pilgrimage? Pilgrimage, you all must be knowing. You have to define it as it is a journey to a holy place or shrine of a particular religion in order to gain, here we can mention why we are going, in order to gain a great sense of, closeness to their religion. Clear? So in this way you are going to define. Next they have asked that how many languages and dialects are there in India according to Gradson. So we need to mention that the data you should be clear with here. According to Gradson, 179 languages were there and dialects, if we talk about, so that was 544. So you need to mention that data here. Another seventh question they have asked that how many languages are included in the 8th schedule. We have to mention that how many languages are included in 8th schedule, and after that we have to mention the name of the 2 languages from the northeast included in that schedule. Clear? So the 2 parts are given of this question. The first part, we'll write down the answer that how many languages. So you all must be knowing 22 languages are included according to 8th schedule. In that 22 languages are there, the main languages that we call. And the 2 languages from the northeast, the one is Bodo and another one you can mention Manipuri. Manipuri, you must be knowing that how after the protest of pressurizing the government, it was included later in 8th schedule. So, and these 2 examples or any other example you can give from the northeastern part from the country, which is the language which is included in our constitution in 8th schedule. The next one they have asked, question number 8, that which is the official language of India as defined by the Constitution of India. So we have to mention which is the official language. You all must be knowing that is Hindi, and besides that you all should be aware that which is the additional language, that is English. But here they have asked only the single official language, so you can mention it Hindi. Next they have asked in which year was English made as the associate additional official language in India. So you need to mention the year, that was in 1950. Question number 10 they have asked to which racial group do the Nagas belong. So you need to mention, you must be knowing that Nagas belong to Mongoloids. Clear? And these question answers were based on the first part of your unit 1. Now we are moving to short question answers. Based on the part 1 of your unit 1, we are going to do the discussion over these short question answers where different questions will take. The first one, name any 3 Christian majority states. If we talk about any 3 Christian majority states, so you can mention Mizoram, Nagaland and Meghalaya. So these 3 states where Christian majority is found can be mentioned. Then they have asked, briefly explain the 2 aspects of religion. If we talk about the 2 aspects of religion, you must be knowing the first is the spiritual one and the second one is the temporal one. In a spiritual one, and they have asked you to briefly explain, so you have to give the heading and little bit explanation in which you will mention. The spiritual one is the one where we are talking about uniformity, and according to that all the religions are having the same or almost same beliefs or preachings in that. Clear? Preaching same beliefs or values in religion. Temporal, where we are talking about that how individual religion is different from the another, how one religion is different from another, so that we have to mention here. Next one, name the major religious groups in India. So we have to mention all the religious groups. It's good if you are mentioning the percentage also, so you need to remember that. So Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, so these religious groups you can mention there. Mention the 4 linguistic families in India. So we need to mention the name of these linguistic families, like Indo-Aryan. The first one you can mention Indo-Aryan, the second one Dravidian, then Mundari and Tibeto-Burman. Indo-Aryan, the second one is Dravidian, then Mundari and Tibeto-Burman. The next one they have asked, what are the 3 principal races of mankind? So you have to mention about the 3 main principal races of mankind. The first one is Negroid, in which it includes the black people. Second one is Caucasoid, which include white people, and the last one is Mongoloid, that includes yellow people, and that Naga people also belongs to that group only, the whitish color if we talk about. So that is going to be the third one. Another one they have asked, cite an example each of mutual borrowing of practices by Muslims and Hindus. So we have to give the example here that how Muslims have borrowed the things from Hindu and how Hindus have borrowed the things from Muslims. For example, we can say that Muslims have borrowed caste system from Hindus, and what Hindus have borrowed, we can mention that Hindus have borrowed Parda system from Muslim. Clear? The another one they have asked, what are the linguistic problems of India after independence? So you all must be knowing there were major three problems, linguistic problem if we talk about after independence. So the first one, the problem of official language. The second problem was reformation or reorganization of linguistic states. Official language was the first problem. Then the second problem was reorganization or the reformation of new states based on languages. And the third problem was the problems related to linguistic minorities, where it was the problem that somewhere they were in fear that they will not be protected. So all these three things were the major challenge, and how it was adjusted or how it was accommodated by the government at the time, we need to mention that. Official language, that's why many anti-Hindi protests or anti-Hindi movement started in South India. So you all must be aware about that in this. And reorganization of linguistic state, if we talk about that, how new states were formed based and where the people belonging to particular linguistic groups were living. Okay. Third one, the minority problem. For that, if we talk about the linguistic minority problem, so for that the provision was given in constitution just for their protection. Now we are going to do the discussion of essay type questions based on unit 1 class 12 sociology part 1 of this unit. So here the first one they have asked that discuss unity in diversity. So while we are attempting these essay type questions, please make sure that you all are aware about the format. You have to give the intro and then the explanation of each and every point related to the answer, and after that the concluding part must be there. Clear? So let's start with the first one. Here we have to explain the meaning of unity as well as the term diversity also, where you can mention about that unity is related to when we are bringing different elements in a society and trying to bring uniformity based on those different elements, and diversity means the differences based on the variety based on differences we can mention here. Clear? Then you have to mention about what are the different factors which are creating these differences in a country. Then on the other hand, you have to mention that these are the only factor which are creating. Then you have to mention that these are the only factors which are creating uniformity, like the geographical factor, political factor, cultural factor, religious, linguistic. So all these factors you have to use here. Clear? Now the second, explain any two factors of unity in diversity in India. So here you only have to select any of the two factors which are creating unity in diversity. So these two factors, for example, you are taking geographical factor or you are taking cultural factor. These two factors you are taking, so you have to give the heading of each and you have to explain that how geographical factor, you will mention that different physical features are present in our country which are creating differences. At one place we have Himalayan region or the mountainous region. At the another place we have desert area. Another place, if we talk about the coastal area, somewhere it is a plateau region, somewhere it is plain. So you have to mention all these things, and then you have to conclude that how if these variations are going on in terms of temperature also and the climate also. So you need to mention about that what are the things which are creating uniformity. For example, we can say that how the availability of resources are helping us to unite, or the presence of the pilgrimage institutions are also playing an important role in creating unity among the people. Clear? So these factors will be there. The same way you have to talk about the cultural factor. You will mention how these cultures, as we are celebrating different festivals based on the different religion, creating differences, but somewhere these cultural values are there that we are exchanging with each other, and the mutual borrowing also you can include under that, so that you have to mention that how we are sharing the things with each other, and this is creating the sense of unity. The next one, explain the geographical factor of unity in India. Now only the unity we have to talk about. So already we have done the discussion, that unity factor you will mention here. The religious factor of unity in India we have to discuss here, where what you can do here, you have to mention that how the religious factors are existing in our society, how different religious groups are there, and what are the things which are creating unity. If we talk about, you can mention that how we are celebrating different festivals together, belonging to different religious group, but still we all are interconnected with each other. We are celebrating different festival, like if Hindus are celebrating festivals, Diwali we are talking about, other religious people are also becoming the part of that. If we are living in a society, we are exchanging gifts and sweets with each other. And we can also talk about that how the Muslims, if we talk about, their main festival is Eid, and then how others are also becoming the part of that. If we talk about the festival of Christian, that is Christmas, then how we all over the India we are celebrating. Although the way of celebrating or the way of involving in these festivals is different, but somewhere we are interconnected, and somewhere these are creating the sense of unity among the people. Then we can also talk about that mutual borrowing also, how we are exchanging things with each other, how we are exchanging the beliefs and values from each other, and which is creating unity. The next one, we have to discuss the diversities found in India in terms of religion. So here diversity, the differences we have to focus on, where you can mention that how different religious groups are existing in our society. Hindus are there, Muslims are there. It's good if you are able to mention their percentage also, as it is given in your text. If you are able to recall that data, so that is going to create the difference in your answer. So you can mention about that how different religious group, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Christians and all are living there. Then you will mention that how one particular group is different from other. We can mention about the different communal rights or the violence created in the or took place in past, and how the conflicts are arising between the religious groups, which are creating the differences and feelings of hatred and all. So that can come under that. The cultural factors of unity we have already discussed. We need to mention here in details that how these cultural factors helping us to be united. Political factors, in this answer you have to mention that how politically the whole unit is administered under the single ruler or the single government, the central government we talk about. Although the division has been done at the state level, but we are united at center. And here you can mention about the role of the Britishers, that how they played an important role in creating that sense of unity, that during the independence movement, if we talk about how the people were started having the feeling of collective belongingness when we all started coming together to fight against these Britishers, and somewhere the Britishers played an important role in combining us all or bringing us all together. Although it was for their own benefit, they were trying to do all such kind of thing, but ultimately the benefit was in our favor. Then we have to mention about what are the linguistic problems that we have already discussed in the previous part of that. That three main problems. The official language problem was there. You have to explain that. Then as the anti-Hindi movement also started in South India and all. So these all the point will come under that. The second problem was reformation or the reorganization of the states on linguistic basis. That also can mention here, and the explanation will be there. The third problem of the third linguistic problem, if we talk about, you can mention the problems related to linguistic minorities. For that you will mention that how the provision has been given in our constitution for their protection. The next one we can say that how is language a source of unity. So you are going to give the different examples from the history that how the language is supposed to be the linked language, and how they used to connect the people from different community, different religious group. Nowadays also, if we talk about Hindi adopted as a official language, so somewhere it is creating unity, and English as a growing language is also helping people to come together as we are asking for the changes in our education system. The same medium of education is being applied in most part of the country. So somewhere the language helping us to be united irrespective of our caste, color, religion, culture and all the things. Clear? So you have to mention about that. The next one they have asked, discuss the racial factors of unity in India. So we have to talk about that how racial factors are also creating unity in our country. So firstly you have to give the classification that how the human race is divided into three main parts, where we considered it as the Negroid, the black, and the Cascoids as the white people, and the Mongoloids, basically the Nagas people belongs to that category also. So that is going to be the wheatish, the yellow colors. So these three categories you have to mention, and then after that you can mention the data also, that how according to B.S. Guna, he has how according to B.S. Guha, he has identified these 6 racial types, and how further he has divided or done the classification of these. So here you have to include all those things, and you have to mention that in spite of these differences, among that, if we talk about the population, have the mixture of the different kind of races, which is helping them to create the feeling of unity. The next one, unity and diversity in India. So here we have already discussed about that. In detail you have to mention all the points. Next we are moving to the high order thinking. Next we are going to discuss here about the high order thinking skills, that is HOTS, and the problem solving assessment PSA. Clear? Here the question number based on the first part of unit 1, they have asked, the official language of Nagaland is English, but the popular common language is Nagmese. Explain in your own words why Nagmese is important in Nagaland. So we have to show the importance of particular language, that in spite of English, why the regional language Nagmese is playing an important role in Nagaland. So here this data, this statement they have given to us. So we have to mention that although that English has been adopted as the official language, we know that English, because the majority of the Christians there in these states, they have adopted English as the main language there, as the official language there. But if we talk about other population, the main natives of Nagaland, if we talk about, they are more comfortable in speaking Nagamese. Reason, because Nagamese is not a particular language. Actually now it's a mixture of different languages which has glimpses of English, Hindi and so many other languages, the mixture of those languages, and it is a language of communication among the people. So you have to mention all these points, you have to mention all these points, that it is the language of communication and how it is helping people to interact with each other, just to reduce any sort of communication gap. They are able to they are able to come in contact with each other, they are able to communicate with each other. The conversation they are able to do in this Nagamese language is easier for them, through which they are exchanging different beliefs, values and ideas with each other. And then we can also mention that even the illiterate Naga, if we talk about, they are also able to understand this Nagamese language. And so all these points you are going to mention based on the experiences and the based on that related to that particular Nagaland. So these examples you just have to use here to explain that why, in spite of English, Nagamese is still an important language in Nagaland. So here we have done the discussion of question answers based on the part 1 of unit 1. So the second question we are taking, apply the concept of unity in diversity to Nagaland. We have to correlate this concept to Nagaland, and under that what we have to mention? We have to mention the diversity is found in Nagaland, how the differences are being created, or how the differences are visible in Nagaland. And beside that, the another part they have asked, what are the factors promoting unity in Nagaland at present? So we have to correlate all the points with Nagaland. Okay, so here we talk about unity and diversity, we understand very well. Especially in concerned with Nagaland, we have to take up the different factors. Like we can talk about the different linguistic groups are found in Nagaland. They are speaking different language. English is the official language, and beside that, if we talk about, Nagamese is the language which is very popular, and most of the population are using it for the communication, and they are interacting with each other with the same language. Then we can talk about the different religious group are living there, although Christians are in majority, but other people are also there, those who are belonging, or the denominations of the Christians we can talk about, many are there, those who are belonging to different religious groups also. Then we can talk about the different tribal groups are also residing there, and those who are speaking different languages, as well as those who are following different culture and tradition. So that will come under the cultural factor, that how the cultural factor of the people living in that Nagaland is different from each other. And these diversities, so in that way you can mention the other diversities also which are found there in Nagaland. And then when we are talking about the factors promoting unity, then you have to mention the same factors, but you need to modify it, and you have to show that how these factors are creating unity. When we are celebrating different festivals with each other, when we are sharing the different values and ideas with the other community people, other religious group, other linguistic groups. So all these factors will come under this factors promoting unity. Clear? So here that was the end of your part 1 of unit 1, where we have done the discussion of all the question answers. Thank you.